From king of the ACC to being straight up creepy, Deshaun Watson's career and image have taken a nosedive and fast. So exactly where did it all begin? You may be shocked to know just how long he's been in the spotlight. It was at an early age when Watson began to turn heads. When he was just 14, college recruiters saw something special and had their eye on him. Starting all 4 years in high school, he had college coaches drooling over him. He would end up choosing Clemson because that was the best place he could start a legacy, and I think it's fair to say that he achieved that. As he entered college, the legend continued to grow. Winning a championship, the Giant Slayer took down Alabama, becoming a national treasure. If you don't live in Alabama, you most likely hate Alabama and fell in love with Watson for beating them. Through all of this, Watson still had a squeaky clean image. However, that was all about to change with some absolutely shocking news right around the corner. When Watson fell to the Texans with the 12th pick, they considered it a miracle, especially with obviously less talented quarterback Mitch Trubisky being drafted ahead of him by the Bears. Chicago also took him over Mahomes, but don't mention that if you ever visit Chicago. Watson hit the ground running and was a star as a rookie and would make the Pro Bowl. It would be more of the same the next 2 seasons, not only making the Pro Bowl, but setting the NFL completion percentage record. Keep in mind, he did all this while the team traded away his best weapon, superstar receiver DeAndre Hopkins. Still, it was a match made in heaven. The superstar's body was taking a toll, however. All players do. But when you're a mobile quarterback like him that doesn't like to slide, you're going to need more treatment than most. The best way to get comfort is to hit up the team's trainers for massages to loosen up the muscles. Apparently, Watson needed some special treatment. A special treatment Texans trainers didn't offer. In March of 2021, a few months before his 4th season was to start, a bombshell was dropped. Lawyer Tony Buzbee said on Instagram, yeah, you heard that right, the big news was dropped on Instagram, that his client was filing a civil lawsuit against Watson for sexual misconduct. Because, well, Instagram is a well-trusted news source and media giant. With nothing like this in his history, it came as shocking news. In fact, most people assumed it was a woman attempting just to get money out of Watson. This is when a lot of players took to Twitter in support of Watson, and some of those tweets haven't aged well. Dez Bryant in particular. After all, it's only one girl accusing him, right? Wrong. Over the next few months, a cascade of women would come forward and it didn't look good for Watson. This time, it looked like he wouldn't be getting a happy ending. We're going to keep pumping out the best NFL content on YouTube, so make sure you subscribe because you don't want to miss out. We have huge plans for 2023. It is going to be insane. Now, back to the business at hand, pun intended. As the 2021 season started, Watson would be inactive for the first 6 games. He still had not yet been found guilty, but the Texans weren't taking any chances, especially since he looked pretty guilty at this point. The Texans were looking to trade the star quarterback. It was clear he had played his last game for the franchise. Who would be dumb enough to trade for him without knowing the outcome? With the NFL having a bad track record on punishing players in this situation, some experts were speculating a possible lifetime ban. There was one team, however, that not only would take him, but give up a ton of capital. They gave Houston 5 picks, including 3 first-round picks. Let's be honest, Cleveland probably would have drafted busts with these picks anyway, but still. Don't be mad, Browns fans. We can only go on history. Who else but the Browns, known for their excellent decision at the quarterback position? The Browns had just drafted Baker Mayfield, who wasn't playing that bad. Now, they were looking at Jacoby Brissett as the starter if Watson couldn't play. Not long after, he officially became a Brown. Watson began settling the lawsuits out of court, and the NFL would announce the big news of how they planned to punish him. It would be the biggest suspension they ever handed out for sexual misconduct. For starters, he was fined $5 million. That's nothing to normal people like us, right? But for him, it was chump change. The Browns just gave him a bazillion-dollar contract too. $230 million to be exact. What people were really interested in was how long the NFL would suspend Watson. They gave him an 11-game suspension for sexual misconduct. That's the longest suspension ever handed out for that offense. It's crazy the NFL has never handed out a suspension that long. Sexual misconduct is a terrible thing. Hopefully, Watson sets the bar high for future offenders and no one gets less than 11 games for that ever again. If you don't know the exact numbers of the Watson case, you may find that punishment harsh. And if you don't know the exact numbers, then buckle up, because the amount of people Watson affected is staggering as well as heartbreaking. First, there is one thing that's a little baffling. Watson is a young, good-looking man with millions upon millions of dollars. You'd think he'd have no problem finding a woman to happily meet his needs. Or how about his hot girlfriend he's lived with since 2019? Though she reportedly has been very distant with him, she stayed by his side, despite Watson getting massages from 66 women in a 17-month period. That's a lot of rub and tugs. No wonder the stock in body oil skyrocketed during that time. 30 women have settled out of court, but the amount of money each has been paid isn't disclosed. It's estimated each victim has been paid between $1.5 to $3.5 million, with a total between $33 and $55 million. So as the dust begins to settle and Watson returns to the NFL, can things ever go back to how they were for him? On November 30th, week 13, he returned to the field for the first time in 2 years. Wouldn't you know it? Like a Hollywood script, it was against the Houston Texans. Watson was met with a storm of boos as he took the field, and deservedly so. The boos may not have been an issue for him, but rust certainly was and has been. To this point, he's played 3 games and hasn't been all that great. 2 touchdown passes, 2 interceptions, and under 600 yards passing in those 3 games. The Browns aren't going anywhere this season, so they can treat it like preseason and prepare him for next year. Let's also not forget poor Baker Mayfield in all of this. I love those commercials where he was living at the stadium. Under Mayfield, the Browns actually looked decent and were definitely improving. There's still something more important than getting his career back on track. There's the mental damage he has caused to the victims and their loved ones, as well as the loved ones of him. There will always be a blemish on his name. However, guys like Michael Vick have proven that you can make a successful return on and off the field, but only time will tell how he'll be looked at. Regardless, Deshaun Watson and his family are set financially for generations. If you liked this video, you'll like his teammate Nick Chubb's lifestyle video. Do you think Deshaun will become one of the great quarterbacks? Let us know in the comments, and thanks for watching.